for joining me this morning. Let's bring out Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. Incredible! Let's hear it for him! Yes! Legend. How are you, sir? Pleasure to meet you. Emily Swallow, the armor! Hello, Emily! Let's hear it from, come on! How are you, Emily? Let's grab a mic. Let's start. Welcome to Canada, guys. Thank you.
I got so excited because right as I walked out, there was a wonderful armorer.
Amazing. Look in the back here. If you see in the back corner, all the first folks
Hi,
back there.
everybody.
Hey there!
Wow.
Family!
Incredible.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up first thing on Sunday morning.
Yes.
This is glorious.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Man, you guys are absolutely incredible in the show, and not just in this show, but your guys' body of work is incredible and amazing. You guys have both been a part of some fantastic franchises, Supernatural, Breaking Bad, but how does being in the Star Wars universe kind of compare to that?
For me, it's like a dream come true. You know, it's one of the reasons I come to Comic-Con is to see all of you guys in wonder, enchantment, and joy at play. And so for me, it was a dream come true to be in this world where you could just be at play. Such a fun thing, no matter what kind of character, how nefarious the character is, how good and honorable the character is. It's still a chance to tell that mythical story that applies to our lives in so many ways if we look at it through the right lens.
Incredible.
Yes, it is absolutely. I mean, there's nothing to compare it to because the Star Wars story started so many decades ago, and to be part of something that spans generations and that means that you have little kids coming up with their grandparents, and the fandom in this world, like Giancarlo was saying, is just so imaginative and so generous. And it continues to surprise me. It's an incredible thing.
That's amazing. By the way, I loved you in Maxine. Has anybody seen Maxine?
Yeah, baby.
Such an incredible film.
Teddy night.
It's incredible. Now, for both of you guys, joining this franchise is huge. It'd be an honor for anybody. But what was it about the Star Wars universe that drew you in initially? And what was your first experience with the Star Wars universe, even just watching it as a viewer?
Ewoks.
Ewoks!
I mean, that's the first thing I remember when I was a little kid, is seeing the Ewoks. And they were just so cute. And I had Ewok dolls, and I would play Ewok adventures in my backyard. They were cute and they were furry. And I was of an age that mattered a whole lot. And so that's what drew me in. That was my gateway drug.
Incredible. How about for yourself, sir?
For me, I was torn between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. I was just captivated with Darth Vader. You know, James Earl Jones has such a very deep and rich personality, but he's able to convey so much through his voice. So as a young actor, to be able to pick up on how you create a whole character without ever being seen, as Emily has done so beautifully as well, is a powerful element because you have to use your body and you have to use your vocality to tell the story. So for me, those early Star Wars films were just about, the balance of being a hero or the fallen hero, as I have in a way become. I like to say that I'm Moff Gideon, the fallen hero who becomes a nefarious one who wants to change everything for all of you. But my experience came up in a very odd way. I was doing a Broadway show, and the gal, one of the young children who played my daughter, in fact, it was Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and James Earl Jones played Big Daddy in the show. And so the gal, Bobby, who played my kid, her father is an anesthesiologist, and we became close, and one day after the show, we took a walk in Central Park. This is 20 years ago. And he turned to me, and we used to trade books, and he used to ask me all these questions. I was kind of mentoring him. What do I read if I want to raise my consciousness and all this? And he turned to me, he stopped, he said, you're a Jedi. You're a Jedi. You're going to be in Star Wars. And I laughed and I went, yeah, right. You know, and so when Jon Favreau called me and said he wrote a part for me, the first call I made was to Steve Chisholm to say, well, I'm not quite a Jedi, but almost a Jedi. But it was, you know, it was the perfect example of how we sometimes need to be reminded. From the time he said it, it lived within my consciousness. So that reminder of how you can invite things to yourself in such a simple way, for me, it's the truth of how you can progress in your life if you let go of a lot of your brain and go, you know what, Steve said I'm going to be a Jedi. I'm going to be a Jedi. I'm going to be in Star Wars at some point in my life, and boom, it happened.
That's incredible.
Well, and you are kind of a real-life Jedi. And I feel like having a real-life Jedi playing Moff Gideon just brings so many layers to it that he wouldn't have otherwise, which it all makes sense to me.
Thank you, Em.
Incredible. And she's completely right about the layers of your work, because I feel that like there's this presence you have as Moff Gideon that is so regal and pristine. How much of that comes from the wardrobe and the cape when you put on the costume?
Well, I think so much of it is about how you envision it, feel it, and see it. And you can do all that work, but then the trappings of costume give you a sense of that power. For me, you know, I remember the conversation with Favreau, is there anything that you want? And I said, I want a cape. So we give things power in our lives too. You know, you look a certain way, you feel more connected to your own being, no matter what that is. It could be a pair of sneakers, as it was for bugging out and do the right thing. It was those Air Jordans. Yes. It could be, for me and Bob Roberts, it started with an old pair of beat up boots. So it was really about this guy. This movie was, I played a reporter, but a guy who was really, really smart, but he had a handicap, he had cerebral palsy, so it was about how he walked. So those things to me are something that I give power to. And so when I got the cape, you know, for me, I looked in the mirror, I put this cape on, and it was all about how I moved in that, how my body changed, how my consciousness was regarded in all the armor. And the same, I had two bites at the apple with Moff Gideon because I had two different costumes. Sure. And so the second costume allowed me, I mean, the first costume was softer, it had an armor, but it was wool, it felt good, I could move, which was so right for those first two seasons. And then the next costume was formidable.
Yes. It was intense.
Now, Emily, for your work, you wear a helmet for your role. Can you talk about the advantage and challenge of wearing a helmet and portraying the armor?
Oh my goodness. It is so much fun because I have to approach it anew a little bit every time I get to revisit her. But it was such a delicious puzzle to try to figure out, because I had done mask work in theater, but there's a very different thing that happens when you're watching somebody on stage and you can't see their face. You can see the rest of their body the whole time. So you're able to see cues about what they're giving you and what they're trying to communicate. And then when you're on camera, it's already challenging as an actor, because you never know when it comes to editing when they're going to cut to you. You know, you don't know what part of the story that you're telling is going to be conveyed. And it was such that was magnified, I think, because what we quickly realized, those of us who were in the helmets, is that when the camera was tight on us, every little movement mattered. Sure. And I am somebody who has trouble being still. I'm all over the place. And so I feel like I probably invited the armorer into my life, because I needed more stillness and I needed to be able to trust that. And for me, it really was so much about trust. It was the trust between me and my scene mates, that they would be paying enough attention to get whatever tiny thing I was trying to communicate. It was definitely trust in myself that I didn't have to effort, because for her, too much was just very easily too much. And then it was so much trust with our directors, as we were, Deborah Cho and Dave Filoni were directing the first 2 episodes I worked on, and they were just, giving us feedback at the monitors about what was playing, what wasn't playing. And all along the way, John has been such a help to me because she gets to say really beautiful, heightened things, which could easily go way too far into, I think, something very ceremonial and something that you can't connect to at all. And he helps me pull back from that and not just go into a mode of and now I'm saying something very important and I hope that you listen to me. And keeps her, just human enough. We still don't know very much about her, which I love. I think that the mystery is very powerful for her. But it is a delicious thing, and it was interesting to go back to her for the Book of Boba Fett, having seen the first season of The Mandalorian and seeing, oh, okay, it works. I felt very different than when I put the armor on again and put the helmet on, and I found that trust was easier to pick back up again. So it's and it is also sometimes very nice to just leave the helmet on in between takes and to get to be a little anonymous and hidden and nobody needs to know what's going on.
Incredible. Let's hear it. I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are geniuses. Jon Favreau is one of the architects of the MCU, and he's a brilliant filmmaker. And his approach to filmmaking wows me. And Dave Filoni is such a insightful, and he's so knowledgeable about the Star Wars universe that I think the universe is in great hands with him kind of there, just being there. When these characters were brought up to you, what was the initial pitch for you guys that they gave you, and how much did you know about the character story going into it? And even if we haven't seen that full story come to fruition yet, how much do you know about the characters fully?
Well, in the beginning, I knew very little. I mean, so much so that Favreau said, "I wrote a character for you. It's Moff Gideon." I said, "What, Moth? A moth? What's a moth?" and he started laughing, and he explained, where I was, and I went, "Oh, okay, David Niven." Okay, started to put it together a little bit, but I knew very little about who the character was or where he was going. So for me, what happens is in very good writing, I pick things up, sure. And so for me, it's sort of like when I was in Breaking Bad, and in the first episode I ever did, there was these words that were in a stage direction that Vince Gilligan had written, hiding in plain sight. And I just thought that was intriguing, and that was at the head of my notes. How do I figure out a guy who's hiding in plain sight? And I really loved it. And for Moff Gideon, it was assume I know everything. And I just went, wow, okay. The guy knows everything. He has some kind of interior communications method that no one knows about, but he knows. Sure. And to me, that put me one step ahead of everyone else. And so, but how do you act that? Where is the truth and the confidence that comes behind knowing something that someone else doesn't know without being smug, but just being sort of ahead of the curve? And so those kind of things, I took those things and ran with them because I felt like, okay, this guy can do all the things that everyone in this universe would like to do. He can do all, he can do all the things that a hero does. And so he gets unveiled. He flies his own TIE fighter. Sure. He wields the Darksaber. That was so exciting for me to welcome and attract into the universe of Moff Gideon.
That's incredible. That's a great answer and insight into character. How about for you? Can you talk about the collaboration process working with Dave and John?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. To start at the very beginning, I came into the show in a very different way because I just auditioned. Nobody was seeking me out. And I knew maybe even less. I don't know. I feel like none of us knows that much. So I didn't know much. I knew that it was maybe a Star Wars show. I knew that the character's face was covered. It didn't say specifically how. And I did know, because I also, there's usually like a line that I'll latch onto in a scene or a stage direction, something that sort of becomes the fulcrum of it for my imagination. And in my audition scene, I did say, "This is the way," and people repeated that back to me. And that definitely felt like, maybe that's an important line, I don't know. But I also knew that the only descriptor I was given was that she was a Zen-like leader. And so, I mean, that definitely informed a lot. So that gave me enough to go into the audition with a lot of stillness, and I didn't put a paper bag over my head or anything, but I did rely a lot more on how my body felt and how I was trying to communicate that way. And then getting to talk with John and Dave, they said that a lot of their inspiration for the character came from George Lucas's inspiration in watching Kurosawa films and the samurai order and that regal character and again the stillness, the economy of movement, and so that was very helpful. I did not know really until I watched the first season exactly how she fit into the story and how just how much of a mentor and a teacher she is to Mando. And so in that way, this experience has been unlike anything else I've done, because I haven't worked on anything quite so secretive. So it's kind of exciting to get to, I know what I'm working on with the people that I'm working with, and my imagination goes to whatever I need to tell that story for that day. And then I sort of get to sit back as a fan and watch the show unfold. And it's a trip. It's really fun that way. And then as she has grown a little bit, I still know very little, which I love, because she can be very mercurial, and I can come up with something very specific that works for one scene and then sort of let it go as I find information that might be more suitable for the next scene. And I've been enjoying that, and I like, people keep saying, when are we gonna know her backstory? When are you gonna take off your helmet? I don't think I want any of those things. I feel like, sure, it'd be fun to know, but...
That mystery, keep that mystery there. So, I think we got somebody else joining us. Let's hear it for Temuera Morrison. Oh, he has a Los Pollos Hermanos shirt. Incredible. So, let's hear it for him. Let's go.
We love you!
What's up, sir?
Pollos!
This is Fan Expo, so if you guys have questions, we got a mic here. I just asked, limited one question per person. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
We warmed everybody up for you, so take it away.
I still got pillow lines on my pillow. For my pillow, I didn't wake up. I couldn't sleep last night, very sorry. But at least I gave you a chance to say something, because sometimes...
We've already talked all about it.
Sometimes I take over. Sometimes I take over the place. Well, I'm cruising on my Bantha on the sands of Tatooine, yeah. I'm heading for Mos Espa. I've got Moff Gideon up my... he's coming. I'm a badass bounty hunter. My best friend's a bantha. You better watch out, or you'll become bantha fodder.
Let's hear it.
May I acknowledge these two beautiful people that I've had the privilege of hanging out with, and lovely to be here in Toronto. Go the Blue Jays! The Blue Jays are winning! A bit late, I guess, but anyway. Anyway, great to be here in Toronto. Love you guys, and you've been very, very warm, hospitable, and what else? What else are we doing here?
I think we're gonna let them talk now.
Okay, yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I have a question for Giancarlo. There are a lot of very iconic villains in this universe. You have to follow the footsteps of Palpatine and Vader, Thrawn, among others. Is there any pressure that you felt going into the role playing Moff Gideon, and how did you deal with that?
I didn't feel a lot of pressure. I mean, there's a pressure to be in this universe because I realize what an honor it is to be joining such a great, mythological story. And what has gone before has thrilled us for many, many years. But I try to put that out of my mind and think about what is the development of this particular cog in the wheel, this particular character. And as Emily was speaking earlier, I was thinking about, my entrance into this world and having all the knowledge and all the power, but still having a grounded sense of who this guy is, that what are his reasons behind doing what he wants to do, what allows him to be human. And so I was trying to play some of those aspects of it that would allow me to be different. When you hear the big voice and you see the big character, there's something about that for me that you're not quite able to enter. But when you're listening to someone who truly is thinking that he has a better way for the universe and he would like you to hear him out. Like, it hasn't worked, so he's trying to take the power, but for what reason? And if you're always wondering what that reason is, maybe behind it all there is a good idea. Maybe there's not. And so I took the pressure off myself so as to not allow myself to play a caricature, but to play a human being. So my belief, and one of the things I kind of started with was, okay, we have heroes, but who is this guy who we want to label as a villain, right? I sort of take that word out of it and go, wait a minute, he's a hero who has fallen from grace. For whatever reason, we don't need to know what that is, maybe we'll find out eventually, but his ideas were good in his brain, but no one wanted to listen to him. So therefore, he's going on a mission to get you to see him, to listen to him. So that became real for me, took the pressure off of trying to create something that had gone before and try to allow myself some originality in playing Moff Gideon. Like when we had the whole council scene, and I had to walk out, these doors open, I walk out, and of course, I have the great walk, the cape, all of that, and I'm, and everyone is surrounding me. Long live the Empire! Woo! This guy believes it. And then they all start to talk. And what they're saying to me is BS. Like they don't have it together. One guy is absolutely stuttering. And I'm going, well, this is the reason I'm here, to lead you, right? He wants to be that hero, even though he's not seen as such. And that creates someone who has all the human characteristics that you and I have. Like in my life, I want to give back, right? And so the juxtaposition of that is that people come up and say to me, wow, how great you are in this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And that's all great, and it's all love. If I go, that's love, take it in, and don't take it into my ego, then I'm allowed to give the gift that I have back without allowing all of that praise to get in the way of me being me.
Wow. You know what? I would join the Empire now. You got me to join the Empire.
Up to the dark side, baby. Dark side.
That was very convincing. I'm in. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, it's wonderful meeting all three of you. My name's Riley, and I am a massive fan. I was wondering, both of you when you were talking said that you are all very big Star Wars fans when you came into the universe. So how is it keeping these secrets and keeping these insights of the roles to yourself before they come out to the fans?
Oh my God, I'm somebody who loves being surprised. My husband's the opposite. Which means he also is very bad at keeping surprises away. It's a problem. But sorry, no, this isn't about my husband. But first of all, there's a lot that we don't know, truly. I have people come up to my table all the time and they're like, so what about, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Really though? Do you really not know? I'm like, no, you guys, I don't know. But then the things that I do know, I don't want to give it away. What's the fun of knowing it in advance? So then what? That I feel like that destroys the story. You don't get the experience of just seeing all of it in its entirety. So for me, it's no problem.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Howdy. All right, so I have a kind of question to take the Star Wars actors out of the Star Wars for a moment and swap lives and ask you if you could play, and it can't be from one that you've been in, if you could play a being, a magical creature, or a human character from Supernatural or Once Upon a Time, what would it be? So would you be a hunter? Would you be a vampire, something else? Would you be a fairy tale creature? What would it be?
Princess Leia.
You would be beautiful. I'm envisioning the hair right now.
I can't unsee it.
You can't see it?
I can't unsee it.
No, you don't want to unsee it.
Boss Logic's now gonna make fan art about this.
You do not want to unsee that. Well, I want to be Boba Fett, I guess. I'm not really answering your question the way you asked it, but I was a little confused.
I would say, like, so you've been in Supernatural, and I want to take you out of Star Wars and kind of go into a different universe. So would you go to Once Upon a Time and be like a princess? Would you go to
Who doesn't want to be a princess? Sure. Yeah.
If you've seen the shows. But yes, I just wanted to see what other characters you wanted to play.
I just wanted to be Robin Hood, man. I mean, so I was in Once Upon a Time, and I was able to have a variety of roles. I played Sydney, who was in love with the evil queen, and she did him wrong. I played the genie, which I absolutely loved. That was the thrill of my life, to play a genie, to grant those wishes. Oh my God. It just was, I used to watch old films with genies in them, and that was a dream come true. But for me, when you said hunter, I think of, Robin Hood, the hunter of the goodness to be able to take from the rich and give to the poor. That to me is appealing.
Me and my family are doing a Once Upon a Time rewatch now because we have a little girl and she's super into the show, so it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great show because it really takes the Grimm's fairy tales, which were grim for a reason, to show you the black and white, the dark and the light of our world, and it really tells that story in a beautiful way.
Absolutely. Hello, sir.
Hi. Considering there are a lot of Star Wars purists who only like the original trilogy for such a long time, I do want to say, I think I speak for most of us to say Mandalorian kind of brought everybody together, and thank you guys for that. When you guys were coming into this and Boba Fett coming back to this, was there any sort of hesitation because of something like that, considering how aggressive the fans could be and the reception that comes with it?
I like to work. I mean, I don't think I've ever done anything where I've thought much about how it would be received while I'm doing it, because Star Wars or not, there's no way to know when you're working on something what the reaction will be. I've been a part of some wonderful things with incredible people that didn't do well. And if I start thinking about how it's going to be received while I'm doing it, that just messes up my head. I also have really not experienced much negativity at all from the fans. I know that there's passionate opinions, and I think those are amplified even more in this age of social media where everybody gets a platform for like 0.2 seconds. But it's been an overwhelmingly positive and exciting experience, even when people don't like something. I love the dialogue that can happen.
Thank you.
That's a great answer, and there's also something I kind of want to add to that, because one of the things that me personally, I really don't like is kind of like the hate that some of the actors or whatever may get for some of these roles. And all I ask is, please be kind. I mean, everybody puts so much hard work, and it's okay to not like something and have a healthy debate about it. But man, some of the hardcore like stuff that I see out there, I just don't like it. So I just ask, please be kind to everybody, and it changes lives. Just being kind to people.
I think you're right. I think it's not so much what you say; it's how you say it. And to the fans' credit, I realize they're being protective of the franchise. You know, and I grant the fans that, because so many fans that come up to me and ask me questions, they know more than I do about this universe, which allows me to know how passionate they are about these stories. So I have to defer to them and go, you know, I understand when the movies were working, and then they weren't. And fans' desire is to try to have their voices be heard and feel the love too, because they also have ideas as how it can work again. So to be a part of Mandalorian was to be a part of the reinvention of Star Wars, and I think that's one of the things that I was most excited about.
Incredible. Hello.
Hello. This is for all of you if you have one, but I'm wondering if you would share a story or a memory of Carl Weathers.
Oh, great question. Carl Weathers, sharing a story of Carl Weathers?
Yeah, we miss Carl dearly. God bless his soul. I was with him in Atlanta, probably his last signing. So I always used to go up to Carl and pretend I was Sylvester Stallone. Come on, Paul. Come on, Paul. And he always used to say, on your toes, on your toes. And he's right. You're going to do that dancing around, you got to be on your toes. What a beautiful man. He was actually getting fit to do another project too, so he was watching his diet and he was training a little bit more intensely, and yeah, what a beautiful man. Plus we got to work with him on the Mandalorian show as well, as a director and an actor, so it's just wonderful to be part of him. But yeah, I love boxing, so I always used to ask him some of his knowledge. He was a great sportsman too back in his day. But he never actually boxed, he was saying. He actually, he was more of a track and field guy. Yeah.
Incredible.
Carl's a beautiful spirit. I knew him for a number of years, and I just feel like he's right beyond the veil. I mean, I feel when I started to think about his passing, and it just really stunned me, I realized, wow, what a kind of a beautiful death. I mean, you know, he went to sleep and he was out of here. But I was working in London on a piece called The Gentleman, and so we wound up at Star Wars Celebrations, and Carl says, you know, I went downtown and I went to this shoe place, George Cleverly Shoes, and the guy, you know, said that Giancarlo Esposito had just been in here, and you know, so so he called me. I really want these shoes. But they're expensive. I said, are you having them made, or are you just taking them off the rack? Well, I'd like to have them made. Well, if you're going to have them made, you got to have 2 pairs, not 1. 2 pairs? That's like $17,000. I said, Carl, I'll buy one for you. No, you don't have to do that. But I mean, should I get them? Are they quality shoes? And I said, Carl, let me be honest with you. The ones that they got me for The Gentleman they were just off the rack. I didn't get them made. But the guy said that you were getting a last made. So should I get a last made? I said, if you're gonna get the shoes made and spend $20,000, get a last made. Okay, well what if they don't work out? What if they don't fit me right? I said, Carl, get the shoes. I love that man.
That's a great story.
Did he get him?
He did.
I want to know what shoes.
I hope he wore those motherfuckers.
I know.
At least one.
I remember being so delighted when I found out what a big fan of theater Carl was. And I still remember the moment. It was also a moment at Celebration, but it was in Anaheim, when he and I were sitting at a table in the green room, and he started to tell me about this play that he was really excited to go see that was in Los Angeles, and Joe Morton was in it. And I said, well, Carl, I'm in that play. And he looked at me like he didn't, I realized that in that moment, he was recalculating who he thought I was. And all of a sudden, this whole new world of conversation opened up to us, which was wonderful, because I also didn't know that he was such a fan of live theater and such a student. He was such a student of actors and the process and directors, and he wanted to know how people worked. And he came to see the play, and we had great conversations about it, and it really changed the way that we knew each other, and it showed me so clearly, you know, that I also had this idea of him because he was this huge persona, and I was a little intimidated by that, and I don't know a lot about football. I didn't know if we were gonna, you know, what we were gonna talk about, and he became such a dear friend, and I just always remember how curious he was and how generous he was in extending his spirit to other people and wanting to know, you know, what makes you tick? How do you work? How do you do this? He was always wanting to learn more.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we're out of time for questions. I
But this
apologize.
man has a cape.
He has a cape.
He's got a cape.
All right, if you have a cape, go for it, man.
Based off of Giancarlo, thank you very much. But it's awesome to meet you guys, and thank you, all of you, for being here. We all love seeing you guys, so. But I have a general question, and that would be, if any of you got the chance to play a character or anything that you loved, like seeing from a film or from a book, what would it be and why?
I'd love to be in the Magnificent Seven.
Ooh, good answer.
But no, I'd have to be called the Magnificent Eight, because I'm the extra guy. I love those old kind of movies, those Charles Bronson and all those guys, yeah. Something like that anyway, buddy.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
I mean, people have been asking me a lot lately about like who were my heroes when I was growing up, and I gotta say, She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
And there's a part of me that goes, I'm too old. I couldn't do anything in that. But I want to be She-Ra.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to work with Sergio Leone. I want to be in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes. Fantastic answer.
Which one are you?
Oh, I'm the bad and the ugly.
We got something great to close out with for your last day here at Fan Expo Canada. If we could bring on the...
Oh, look at
There's our people. There's our people.
Yeah.
We're going to give you guys a show.
Come on, give him a hand.
This guy looks like a clone of mine.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow, they just keep coming.
Wow. Look at all the boys.
Hi.
This is a gift for you.
Careful, don't trip. It's really easy to do that.
On behalf of our group, 501st and Canadian Garrison and the Mendel merch, we want to give that to you. And I have trained several of us to assist with you for the haka.
Haka. Okay.
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Keep you posted.
Okay, let's give this a go then. Let's give this a go again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The local Toronto, the Mercs, the 501s. Okay, you better lead it and I'll follow along. Because you might have to practice without me. Huh? Just come on, come on. Okay, we better Calmo first, right? Calmo! Linga Pakia! Okay, look ugly, look ugly. Kumate, kumate, kora, kora. Kumate, kumate, kora, kora. Kumate, kumate, huru, huru, na, na, itiki, mai, paka, fiti, tera. Oh, pane, oh, pane, oh, pane, kupane, fiti, tera. Hey!
Let's give it up for everybody. Let's see it again, man. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
arrested a Mandalorian for removing their helmet, you need to know there is fine print in the creed that allows for situations like this, so everyone's just fine.